I was just about to ask where the opposition comes in this instance, where, you know, it seems as if, from your assessment, you're calling out government on certain things that they have said that they would deliver. What would be your role in making sure this happens?
Let me tell you, the NGC does not sit in a corner looking for loopholes or looking for government to stumble and things like that. We don't have that attitude. This is not our own perception of politics. We will criticize the government when they are doing some things that we think are wrong. But we can also give advice. And we've done that before. Most of what we do, you find out it comes along with some piece of advice. Remember when we were talking about the bread and butter, the economy, when we discovered all the prices and that sort of thing? We made a recommendation. We said it is time to declare an economic emergency and that government should call all the economic operators. And I don't just mean the CEOs of banks and things like that. I mean even the market women around the table. Those who are changing money. People in industry, barbers, whatever. We have to call them round the table, okay? And to discuss why are things in this way? What's happening with the economy? We propose that. Honestly, if you did that, and you got the APC too sitting there, okay? It's not like in the Bintumani. You remember this Bintumani thing?
Bintumani conference.
Yeah. It would have been so much better if the APC was there, if they were present. That would have been wonderful. But they were not. And so it's like a one-legged country. So if you call all these economic operators, business people, and they tell you some of them are complaining about the taxes, that taxes are killing them. There's very little production, and they are discouraged and things like that. So you would know exactly how people in the economy, at different parts of the economy, how they are feeling, what they are feeling, and what would be their own suggestion as to the improvement of the situation.
Yeah, what else can opposition parties do? Does your role go beyond criticism and advice?
We give advice, we criticize, we also educate our people, because I can tell you that the Constitution says that political parties have to shape the political will of the people and to give information. So we need to inform our people, because a government does not work on its own. You need the people to be in sync with what you're doing. So we can inform the people that this is exactly what is happening. And we go through the press, for instance, through our press briefing, to inform the people about what the situation actually is. I'll give you an example. When we were doing the bread and butter, we discovered that the price of a bag of rice, the increase in the price of a bag of rice was far less in terms of percentage than the increase in the price of a cup of rice. So you see, you find out that those who are selling by cup, and you know you have people who cannot buy a bag of rice, you are losing out far more than those who could afford a bag of rice. We inform our people so that our people are aware of some of these things. But it is also for government to go and investigate why. What is causing this kind of thing? If you see the point. So we are not just focusing on government, but we are also talking to the people and bringing some kind of information. Let me look. If we were in government, instead of having a whole strategic communication unit, which is just there to yeliba and praise government. We would set them out in the streets like they used to do in olden days, the Ministry of Information. You had information officers going from village to village, educating people on certain things. And people need to know what is happening. But right now, if government wants to inform people, they just send, when there's a problem, you send 2 or 3 people here to come and defend. They could make better use of the skills of those people by actually sending them out to inform people, not for propaganda purposes. So this is the kind of thing that I think political parties are there to shape the political will of the people, inform people on what is going on, finding out exactly what is going on, and holding the government to account.
So then do you think there needs to be some sort of change in the terminology of, for instance, the word opposition, because it has some sort of connotation to it, yes, which makes it seem as if you're all the time against the decisions of the government, and you're never in consonance with what the government says.
Yes. You know, every country has to define the way its polity. Every country needs to define its polity. And that definition will have to be based on their realities, the realities they're having. Let's face it. For a long time, people have not been voting on issues. They've been voting for something else. You see the point we're making. And this is very important because it's like the political education of our people is yet at the kindergarten stage. Okay? And people need to be informed far more than they are now. So we cannot afford the kind of opposition they have in Britain or in America. America can run even if there's no so-called government. The institutions are there. Okay? They function. You know, when you have this transition, you don't even know that there's a government that's not actually working because the country is running. But we don't have that luxury. So we find out that we have to play a role that is not just that simple oppose, oppose, oppose. Because if we continue to play that role, we'll break the country. We will break the country. And we cannot play that role now. So you find out that we have to define ourselves based on our circumstances. And so we cannot have that kind of opposition. We have had that kind of opposition for a long while, and we see the results. So can we think outside the box a little bit?
Right. You spoke about, you know, the US and the UK functioning, whether there is a change of government, something like that. So that has to do with strengthening the institutions and making them less partisan. Now, what do you think can be done in that area? How do you think we can strengthen our state institutions?
Well, I think you've answered the question by making it non-partisan.
How do we do that? Because it's a known fact that state institutions are very widely politicized, and the issue of making them less partisan has come up every now and then. But the question is how? How do we do that?
Well, if you look at the public service, you know, you have this system where you have people moving in terms of their tenure upwards, the mobility within the system. And then you have some institutions that have been created where you have to employ people, professionals from outside. I think we have to look at how our system of recruitment, first of all, to see on what basis people are being recruited. If it's on the basis of professionalism, we have to ensure that those who are recruiting are not themselves partisan. So I think there's a lot that we can do in terms of bringing sanity into the system if we review the way we recruit people for certain positions. But it's a very big question, and I think we have very short time. We cannot have to answer. We will have probably another program for that question to be answered.
Well, thank you very much.